All right, on this episode, we're going to be watching gap scheme runs from the Chicago Bears versus Green Bay Packers wildcard matchup. Within the gap scheme, there's multiple different plays. Right in this cut up, we will see what's traditionally called power. We'll see a guard tackle counter, and we'll also see a traditional counter. Right, so different variations of the gap scheme. First one up, looks like they're running just like your traditional power, but the ball ends up hitting backside, which is kind of unusual. We'll see from the other angle why that is. Running back had his eyes up. Good. A lot of big bodies on the field right here, right? It looks like right now we're in 13 personnel. Got 3 tight ends or 22 personnel, depending on however you're classifying these players. Nice solid gain. All right, let the play run, and then we'll pause it and talk about it. Okay. So right here with the motion, we're not really getting any backside second level element. As you can see, once the shift happens, everybody in the box is bumping over. Okay, so makes our angles tough on gap scheme. Right, traditionally on gap scheme, you have a play side combo working down and away to a backside linebacker. Right, so just make believe there's a linebacker back here. Traditionally, we're going to try to get some front side combo, whether that's a deuce or a tray, working down all the way back to this backside element, right? In this case, obviously, there is no backside second level defender. So a little bit different situation, forcing our double teams to be a little bit more vertical, hence why the ball also went back there, right? So on the backside, okay, so let's actually, before we get to talking about each player individually, all right, let's kind of talk through the rules here. All right, we're going to bring a fullback or an extra body, extra tight end over to kick an element out. On the play side, we're blocking down. Okay, we got to get to backside second level defender. As we talked about, there isn't one right now. On the backside, right, or the center is going to block back. Backside guard's going to pull. Right, backside tackle has what we call gap hinge. Right, protect the B gap first. Right, make sure nothing is going through that B gap. No linebackers' eyes have to be there, and then you can hinge back. Same thing with that backside tight end, a gap hinge. All right, so let's see how they handle this up front with this little bit different look. Good. So you can see. All right, let's watch. Let's let this guy get a little bit further. All right, actually, we're starting back here. All right. Let's go starting right here at the right tackle spot. All right. So initially, pre-snap, he could be thinking he has a tray. Right? Him and the tight end blocking the defensive end, right, to the second level. Guard just blocking down, right? That's what it looks like pre-snap. But post-snap, we get some movement, right? And that movement is this nose right here, and this 2-eye ends up playing out into the B gap. Right? So you're going to watch this right tackle right here, start the tray, and then see the movement, feel the movement, and actually turn it into like a deuce block. Right? So boom, boom. See how he recognizes that movement, and now he's on that defensive tackle playing the B gap. Get a little bit of foot traffic here at right guard with that center. Right? And we'll talk about why here in a second. But I think, let's go back a little bit. I think the right guard could have helped himself out just a little bit with his footwork as he's down blocking right here. He's got to take good, efficient footwork. He cannot allow penetration through that A gap, right? So he does a good job with his first step, closing the distance, gaining ground at him. Now you need that second step down fast, right? One, it'll give you power if he does want to play up the field. Right, but also will give you the ability to redirect on any type of movement. Okay, so we'll let it run and look at his second step. First step, pretty good. Second step, boom, doesn't get down until right there, right? It's way too late. I would love for him to get it down just a tad bit quicker right there, right? If he could get that right foot in the ground right now, going this direction, right? He could use his right hand to catch him almost, right? Now you're creating that double team on the move now with the right tackle. Okay, so it makes it a little bit hard to redirect. And then in addition to that, his buddy at center opened up his stance, right? He went left foot and then dropped with his right foot right here, creating some foot traffic, okay? But regardless, right guard could have helped himself. Now the center, right? He's getting movement too, so this is tough. You know, asking a lot out of these guys, but he's getting, looks like some sort of crossface going that way. Okay, so same thing with him at center now, right? He's got to have efficient first step, so this guy doesn't just go through the line of scrimmage here, but he's got to protect himself with that crossface by having that quick second step, right? Right here does a pretty good job, but I just don't like that second step. See how wide he's getting with his base right here, right? That's too wide, and that's because his feet aren't going the same direction, right? That's how wide his feet are right now. And that's also what the guard trips on. So, good. Now the left tackle here does a really good job. We talked about earlier, he's got that gap hinge, protect the B gap first, and then you can hinge back. Right here, he's getting some sort of inside movement here. He has to stay there on that B gap defender. He does a good job of cutting it off and then creating a running lane actually for the running back by continuing to move his feet and washing it into the big old pile of bodies, right? Don't always feel like you have to cut everything off on the backside of all these runs. Sometimes you can use the help of body presence from the other offensive linemen, right? And as you can see here, there's a big old cluster of bodies right there. So good job by the running back having his eyes up, even though traditionally this play power hits to the play side, fall on that pulling guard, be a football player, right? And he clearly is. Okay, let's watch the pulling guard. It's tough. Running into a pressure on that side. All right, so the left guard here, okay, he's pulling to the play side. Initially, you got to lose a little bit of ground, right? Especially in a situation where there might be a lot of movements, like lose a yard or so you can clear all that junk in the middle. And then we want to get downhill and get vertical with our shoulders the first opening we see, right? There's sometimes it's not necessarily, hey, you're going to go A gap, B gap, or C gap. It's be a football player. The first opening you see, go through, hit opposing color. And I think he does a pretty good job here trying to get some depth initially and get around it all, but there is no opening until right here, which is when he tries to go vertical, right? So pretty good job here by the left guard. A nice play. Nice. All right, we'll watch the same play from the other angle, see if we see anything new. Really good job by the tight end on the backside. No, it's not a huge block, but he does a good job. He's blocking the linebacker walked up. I think if you watch him with his hands initially on, see how he's low to high with those hands, right? Allows him to get inside hand position, and then he runs his feet, all right? Really good job by the backside tight end. Good, just stay with him, stay with him. Try to stay latched on, keep running those feet. Good. All right, so that was just like a traditional power, have a fullback, body kicking out, guard pulling. So now we're going to see a different variation of gap scheme, or different variation of power. Same idea though, right? Running it to a tight end, have one body kicking out, usually a fullback or extra tight end, and then having that backside guard pull, right? Again, heavy personnel, right? It looks like another situation where they have like 13 personnel on the field, 3 tight ends. That's why you're seeing so much one high by the Packers. So many guys around the line of scrimmage. All right, cool. So let's pause it right here. Get a little bit further, right there. All right, let's draw this up. This is power right now. Right on the, starting at the center, he's blocking back on the nose, right? Now inside this left guard position, he's either got a solo down block, or if they're going to see this as a B-gap defender, maybe they turn this into a deuce block, okay? But it doesn't matter for the left guard. He should be thinking he's blocking defender in the A-gap. Now at left tackle, tight end, we could either get a tray combination where the left tackle gives him a hand on his way to the linebacker, or they could say, you know, we're going to treat this as a deuce and just go right now, okay? Tight ends should be down blocking through the C gap, and we're going to have our kick out guy coming in motion right now. The fullback, backside guard, pulling the lead through. First opening he can get through the line of scrimmage. Backside tackle, gap hinge. All right. All right, so right here, I really like the right tackle. I really like the left tackle. All right. Let's go ahead and highlight him. The left tackle does a good job initially holding space with his left hand on this defender, keeping his eyes inside, and then he's able to attack when he gets some movement by the defensive tackle. Okay. Boom, boom. Really good job. See that left tackle holding space here? And then he turns it into a deuce, knocks it over, climbs up to the second level. All right, good job of using that right shoulder to knock it over for the left guard. All right, this is really well done. Boom, climbing up. Nice work, all right. Good, pretty good job by the left guard here. All right. He does a really good job. The left guard does a really good job of playing with his feet underneath him, playing with his upper body in that good posture, strong upper body position. All right, so really good job there by the left guard. Good job by that center. Right? Sometimes on these back blocks, it feels like I can just snap the ball and just build a wall here. Right? And if that happens against a good nose, he's going to knock you back this way. Right? So you do have to step at him. You do have to treat it like you're going to almost drive block him, but stay real heavy on that inside shoulder. Don't allow him to cross your face here. Right? But go attack him. I think he does a pretty good job here with his feet going at him. Gets his helmet on the wrong side, but he's able to get it right back. Okay, try to keep that helmet initially instead of being on that shoulder. Right, I'd love to see his helmet be just right here. All right. Good, and that backside tackle, sometimes this gap hinge situation can feel like a play off, but keep working, all right? Don't let him, at the end, right here, don't let him run around the top, get back into the play. You never know. All right, just keep working, keep your body in front of the man and the ball carrier. All right, the left guard, or the right guard here, all right, the right guard, he's pulling, entering through the first opening hole he can get his shoulders vertical, get downhill, and go block at the second level. I think right here, he's going a little too wide. I would love for him to feel the tackle go in the tight end right there and have a little bit more depth and be able to get vertical right here, right? If he's able to get vertical right here and get on this linebacker, there's a good opportunity for this play to be a little bit bigger, okay? So get vertical, see how he kind of keeps on going wide, right? And initially, initially he could have more depth in his pull, right? I think if initially he lost a little bit more ground, he would be able to see this a little bit better and get back down vertical, across the line of scrimmage, but he's a little bit tight, doesn't lose enough ground. Now it's hard for him to get his shoulders back vertical. Good. All right, another good look at the left tackle here, knocking over the defensive tackle to the left guard as he climbs on his way to the second level. All right, boom, good job. Nice work. All right, so another look at power, right? Running to the tight end, have a kick out player from the backfield, and then also have the backside guard pulling. All right, so now we're going to see a different variation. This is going to be guard tackle counter. All right, so guard and the backside tackle are pulling. They have a split backfield action, right, with play side tackle or play side tight end going back to the right and the wide receiver on the backside bluffing. May add a pistol too, so it looks like this is an opportunity to pull it. All right, so quarterback can hand the ball off or you could pull it. Makes a good decision here on a play that could have been a little bit better, but we can see it from the other angle. All right, as you can see here, the backfield set right now. We got 3 guys in the backfield, excluding the quarterback. All right, we have 1 guy here. We got our running back in the backfield, and then we got wide receiver body plus the quarterback, okay? And you're gonna see him go backside. Same with this wide receiver go backside, okay? So there's gonna be some action flowing this way. And then at the same time, in addition to that, right, we got our right guard pulling, right guard pulling the kick. Good. And then the backside tackle pulling to either lead, or if this turns into a log block here where he's having to turn back on it, that tackle should read it, boom, and get around all of it. And he's actually going here to block the corner. This is like a GT counter with a cat tag to it, but just a different look. All right, we talk about power. You'll have somebody from the backfield being the one to kick out, and the backside guard is pulling through, doing an O pull. Now when you talk about GT counter, right, our backside guard is pulling to be the kick out guy, and our backside tackle now is the lead through guy. All right, so just a different variation to run some gap scheme. On the play side though, we still have the same down and away, right, blocking combinations where we can get them, first level to second level, blocking back at the center position. Should get a deuce look here. Good, so even though this is designed as a kick out, right, for the right guard right here, if you were to draw this up and ask him what he's supposed to do, right, he would say something along the lines of pull and kick out this defensive end, right? But if this defensive end closes really hard and squeezes, right, and you're on your pull, he does a really good job here of adjusting to do what's called a log block, right? Instead of kicking him out now, we're going to kind of wheel on it, and that tackle is smart and he's athletic, he'll read that too and end up going around it. So he does, the right guard here does a really good job on this pull of adjusting to the defense end, squeezing this. Good. And you see how he's not like going out to him and trying to flip his hips. He's initially in a position to kick him out, and then naturally kind of turns into a log, right? And then good job by the right tackle reading that. Now, I don't know if this was designed as like a GT counter, like wrap, like going wide, or they just read this out really well, because you are getting the play side wide receiver crack blocking into the box, and him and the tackle are exchanging, guys, a little pizza theory here, right? We know the pizza theory, right? He takes my block, okay, I take his block. He takes my pizza, I take his pizza. And I think first learned that Al Borges, University of Michigan. All right, so really good job there by the tackle, being athletic, getting around all that. Then continue to run your field in the second level. All right. See what happens inside. All right, so this is tough. It looks like they're trying to run some form of twist inside. The left guard and the left tackle do a good job of starting their deuce. Boom. And then feeling that nose wrap around and the tackle ends up getting him, right? See that? Right here, left guard, left tackle. You would be thinking they would be working a combination on this guy up to the second level, okay, and like a deuce block, but what's gonna happen here is this nose on the backside is gonna end up playing over the top, and you'll see the tackle, left tackle, knock over the defensive tackle, or the nose right here to the left guard, and then actually build a wall on the looping nose, okay, so. Good. And you can see with all that action in the backfield, watch the second level, right? Like guys like that, watch him with his backfield action. See the ball is being handed off going to the left, but because of the backfield action and also the threat of the quarterback run, right? We got a lot of defenders over here looking, trying to play their gap, trying to guess. Good. All right, really good job here by the wide receiver. Watch this defender in the box here. He's gonna crack him. He does it with violence, does it with speed, right? And it's a big reason why this play almost had a chance to be successful. Good, you guys see him? Good job by the wide receiver. Boom, coming in. Good. So that was guard tackle counter, GT counter. There might have been a called, log block by the guard, or this might have just naturally happened. Okay, but regardless, I think the right guard does a really good job. Okay, the right guard right here on his pull does a really good job of attacking this with physicality and then allowing it to naturally kind of turn into that log rather than running at him and trying to flip your hips and position block it, right? He's able to get him logged by doing it with violence. And look at that pad level on contact. Good. Going against a hard-hitting defensive end too. Good job by the tackle being athletic. Nice. All right, so that was guard tackle counter. This next one up here is more of a traditionally called counter, right? So this is going to be backside guard plus backside guard kicking out plus a fullback leading through now, right? So very similar to power, but the difference is now the guard is kicking out, fullback leading, whereas in power we're going to have a fullback kicking out and the guard leading through, right? So just a little different variation of gap scheme going against a 3-down front here. Good, so they're having number 81 in the backfield here bluff this defensive end, make it feel like he's going to block him, and then what's going to happen is this backside guard now is going to go kick him out, right? Now the backside tight end in this case, sometimes it's a fullback, he's the one leading through, right? So you're switching responsibilities from power on counter. Now the guard's kicking out and the fullback's leading through, okay? So inside, up front, right, we got 3 technique, 0 technique, 3 technique, right? Kind of takes away your ability to have double teams, combinations. So everyone on the play side now just got to block down into their gap, right? Where traditionally you have a 3 technique, that would be a deuce. Now you're just all down blocking. Center's got to block back because guard's pulling to kick out, right? And we got gap hinge by the tackle, okay? Nice work. Good look at a gap hinge by the left tackle, right? He doesn't have very far to go, but gives a center presence, and now you're back out just in case somebody's trying to get the ball carrier from the backside. Good job by the left tackle. Nice work by the center on his back block, stepping at him. Good, using the tackle's help. Good job. Good. All right, let's watch the right guard here. He's got a down block. He does a good job initially with his feet, and I think he does a good job getting his hands on right here. It's a good look. And then he kind of just stops his feet a little bit. He could get just a tad bit more movement if he were just running his feet right here. But he does a good job of playing 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. Good. He's making contact on his 3rd step here. He's opening up that hip on that 1st step, getting his 2nd step down. He's playing with the base. That's a good job by the right guard. Boom, just a little bit more feet drive on contact. That'd be nice. Okay. It looks like here the right tackle, all right. Right tackle in this case, he's got a down block. Feels like a little bit this defensive tackle is playing out. You would expect the tight end to be in his hip, but it looks like the tight end's already on his way to 2nd level by the time that happens. So he's got to do his best to try to stay latched onto him right there. Right, kind of goes past him. That initial aiming point, right? If I'm playing right tackle right here, okay, I want to block him down that direction right there. Okay, so aiming at that near ear hole. We can't allow B-gap penetration, so we do have to have effective 1st step, stepping right at our target. Good job by the left guard. Right, left guard is pulling to kick out defensive end, who's being bluffed by this backfield action here. Right, he's doing a good job of pulling, losing a little bit of ground, but then adjusting on the move and be able to make contact in a good position. Nice work. All right, good. Another variation of gap scheme, right? We'll watch it quickly from the other angle. Going against his jam front. Good. All right, so we saw 3 different types of gap scheme in this cut up. We saw power, right? That is going to be a gap scheme run to the tight end with a fullback or some second blocker in the backfield, right? The backside guard is going to be pulling to lead through the hole. The fullback's going to be kicking out, right? We also saw GT counter, which is guard tackle counter, right? The guard is pulling the kick out. Now the tackle is the one leading through. There's no fullback involved. Sometimes that's run to a tight end, sometimes to the open side. And then we saw just traditional counter, right? Where that's the guard kicking out and now the fullback's leading through, right? So all these are forms of gap scheme, and there's more forms of gap scheme that we didn't get to watch here, but these are all from the Wildcard game versus the Packers. Just 3 different ways of running a very, very similar scheme. There's only a couple guys that are going to be affected by the difference between counter and power and GT counter and counter, right? So on the play side of all these schemes are basically the same. You're working down and away, building combinations when we can. If there's nobody immediately in my inside gap, that's when I'll be in a position to be the lead blocker in a combination. And again, we're working to the backside, away from the play side, okay? So I appreciate you watching. Again, if you're liking these, please leave a comment, like them, share them with your friends. Anything we can do to grow this network and this community, we're trying to do. Thank you for watching.